What's going on, Washington fans? It's your boy Josh Taylor. And man, who saw the season going like this? I think this is rock bottom compared to where we were last year. Obviously, just a blowout loss to the Cowboys, 44-22. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with Jayden Daniels' injury. Got an update on that today. Dorrance Armstrong is out for the season. He had an injury during that game, early in the game. Only lasted a couple plays. And then the defense. There's a lot to talk about with this. Honestly, Father Josh preached start the mock drafts. It is honestly reaching that point with the schedule that Washington has coming up. You got to go to the Chiefs. Then you got the Seahawks, the Lions. It's just, I think they have like the top 5 hardest remaining schedule in the league right now. So it's not going to get any easier. And like I said, the bad news continues to hit. You get good news somewhat with Jayden Daniels' injury. We still don't know fully if he's actually going to play Monday night against the Chiefs. But at this point, we're getting more negative news than we are positive news. I mean, like I said, there's a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the defense. We'll talk about who else is left on the defensive line at this point. But it's bad. Like I said, I did not see the season going like this. But honestly, I want to start by saying this. Something that I tweeted out on social media. I think it was yesterday after the game. The vibes just have not been right with this team since the season started. And it went back to the offseason with Terry McLaurin's contract situation. The vibes were never good. Like, I get it. Terry did what he had to do. It was a whole thing. It was a business decision. I get it. But the vibes that we got from last season just haven't been there this year. And I think it bled into the season. Like, it didn't feel like this team was on fire and, ready to go. We didn't see that, like, leadership by any means. Like, the win against the Giants, where we're like, okay, this is a good team. And then, bam, got a wake-up call against the Packers. Obviously, wake-up call against the Falcons. And a giant wake-up call against the Cowboys. And I just feel like something is just off with this team. And I think when you look at the defense, it's confidence. I don't think I don't want to say any. I don't think a lot of these players have full belief in what they're doing out there. And the results are showing it. You got Quan Martin and Marshawn Lattimore running into each other in coverage for a one-play, 74, 75-yard touchdown for CeeDee Lamb. That's the kind of things where I say, like, the defense is at rock bottom right now. And I want to get to y'all's chats, and I want to hear from y'all. Like I said, right now it's bad. And it is okay. And I want to say this too. There should not be any fan police. There should not be any people saying, oh, don't think like that, or you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't say that. This is a safe space. I go live the night after every game. So, Sunday night games, I'm going live on Mondays. And obviously this week coming up, I'll go live on Tuesday nights. But this is a safe place. We're going to talk about everything. The trade deadline, the defense. Like I said, let me start by saying, my guy Ranger, what's up, brother? Rough season, man. Like, it's bad. Look what Alex pretty much summed it up. We are on life support. These injuries. I mean, injuries around the league right now are terrible. But Washington in general, Terry McLaurin had his injury, and he's been out weeks. He was supposed to come back last week, and then he went from a limited participant to didn't practice in the last 2 practices of the week and missed the game. Deebo Samuel has his bruised heel, and Dan Quinn said it's something that can linger. He played through it, and then he missed the Cowboys game. So who knows when he's going to come back. Noah Brown, injured in minicamp, injured in training camp, injured to start the season, missed multiple games, then went on IR, and now he's missing 4 more games. And when is he even going to come back? Now you have Jayden Daniels. He missed 2 games with his knee injury, and now he has a hamstring injury. I just want to talk about that real quick because that's a big thing. We heard, it's not serious. It's not this. It's not that. I get that. And that's great news. Hearing that Jayden Daniels doesn't have some grade 2, grade 3, hamstring injury, that is excellent news. But I am 98% 98.9% sure that Jayden Daniels will not be playing on Monday Night Football. If you know this team, if you know how conservative they are with Jayden Daniels and his injuries, he's not playing Monday night in an AFC game. As much as we want to see him and Patrick Mahomes, it's still, even if he plays, it's not going to be a close game. I hate to tell you. But this is an AFC game. There's no reason for him to be out there and risking even more injury. At this point, if these losses continue, a successful season for me is a healthy Jayden Daniels at the end of the season, a healthy Terry McLaurin at the end of the season. So it's not worth playing Jayden Daniels against the Chiefs. Even if he is fine, they say, oh, it's not a big deal. There is no such thing as just a small hamstring injury. Usually, even the smallest hamstring pulls or whatever can be at least a 1 week, but usually 2 week kind of injury. But even with the extra day on a Monday Night Football game, there is no reason for Jayden Daniels to be out there, especially with the defense. And we are absolutely going to be talking about the defense. Why does it always happen to us, man? Hard Knocks is going to be interesting. Hard Knocks is going to be a movie. You have the Michael Parsons trade thing that happened early in the season. And I don't know when they start actually filming stuff, but I know it starts, you can actually start watching it in like December. But then you have the Giants with, Jackson Dart and everything. And that was a terrible loss by them. Then you have the Eagles with all their drama to start the season. Maybe they're turning things around now. And then you have us, the Terry McLaurin situation before the season even started. All these injuries. Hard Knocks is going to be insane. Like, they might put it up for several awards. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Mr. Andrew said, hello, I'm here to cry with friends. Welcome. We are all here to talk about it. And make sure y'all hit that subscribe and thumbs up button while you are here, especially everyone over on YouTube. Like I said, I'll be going live after every single game the night after, just to recap it and talk about all the things for the week. Defense is garbage. Everyone hurt, hard schedule, and most importantly, bad coaching, even from Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. To be honest with you, like, the injuries are one thing, but you can only use it as an excuse for so long. The 49ers, no Ayuk, no Bosa, no Fred Warner. Juwan Jennings has been hurt. Brock Purdy's out. Like, they have 10 plus starters out. And they're still winning games. They're one of the best teams in the NFC right now. They just beat the Falcons, who mollywopped us. Looked like they had Michael Vick and Roddy White back out there when they played us. But the 49ers just handled them like it was nothing. So as much as people want to say, oh, injuries and stuff like this, I will say with the injuries, though, what you're starting to notice is, obviously the past regime, as bad as those draft classes were, the quality of depth, something that I thought was better going into the season, it's just not there. And this is why, because you have all these bad draft picks. Pretty much everyone except a handful of players over the last, 2 or 3 years before Adam Peters got here is no longer on the team. Obviously, you have your Quan Martins, you have your Sam Cosmes, and a couple other players here and there, John Bates. But you don't have those extra draft classes to build off of that can help you out. There's a lot of starters we could have on this team. Imagine if we would have drafted Chris Olave instead of trading back. Imagine if we would have had Christian Darrisaw instead of Jamin Davis. And I hate to be that guy to say, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. And I'm not that guy. But when you think about injuries, this roster was already in a terrible spot. When Adam Peters took over, Washington had the biggest roster turnover of any team in the entire league, and it was not close. That next season, they had about 10 starters that weren't even on an active roster that next year. So that's how bad it was. So yes, Adam Peters has had to, do some aggressive trades. He's had to get Laramie Tunsil, Deebo Samuel, and Marshawn Lattimore, which obviously is not working out. We could have used those draft picks. But there's so much that he had to do. And people are like, oh, why'd he do all these small signings? He had to sign so many players. He had to have a full roster to actually compete with. Obviously, you go to the NFC Championship game. You have Jayden Daniels, special season. But now this is when reality sets in. All of those years of, failed draft classes, not getting Christian Gonzalez over Forbes. Like all of those, you're paying for it. And I hate to say that, but you got to just get back to work. This was always a 3-year rebuild. When a new GM takes over, I'm not saying, it's going to take that long to find success, because you found success in the first season. But to have a long-term sustainable success and not dip it and do all this, injuries, no injuries, whatever, it's going to take about 3 years. So I didn't think the season would go this bad. I thought, maybe there would be a dip because of, the offseason. It wasn't as impactful as I was hoping for. Free agency didn't have as many draft picks as you would like, but it's no excuse. You just got to get back to work. And I do understand a lot of people like, Adam Peters failed this, he failed that, he failed the Terry thing. At the end of the day, from what he took over, I think he's done a great job, but the job is not done. It's never done. Dog, the defense was cheeks last year too. No adjustments have been made. Absolutely no adjustments have been made. Absolutely not. $5 says they don't change a single thing going into Kansas City. Same guys, same scheme. Absolutely. I agree with you. I don't think they changed anything. Don't think they changed anything. Can Tyler Lockett play corner or DN? So Tyler Lockett did about 30 minutes ago ask for his release from the Titans, and they are granting it to him. So don't be surprised if you see Tyler Lockett on the NFL transactions list that he was visiting either Wednesday or Thursday or like Friday. Don't be surprised. Too old on defense, in my opinion. Marcos, absolutely right. Love Bobby Wagner, but the age is showing. Like when you go back, and I see people like outside of Washington saying this, and that's when I know like there's a problem. I do like, paying attention to certain people like in the Washington media that do like film breakdowns and stuff like that. Sometimes you got to be careful because there's a lot of bias and people are like, I got to put my home like goggles on. I can't say anything bad about this team. But when you have like national media people saying, wow, when you watch the Commanders defense on the all 22, Bobby Wagner is slow. Marshawn Lattimore is slow. Quan Martin cannot tackle. Like there's a lot of things wrong with this defense. I know Bobby Wagner is a Hall of Famer. I know he can get you 100 tackles with ease. I get it. But why do we not see Jordan McGee and Kane Medrano, these linebackers that you drafted? You drafted Kane Medrano for his coverage ability. He used to play wide receiver. He used to be coached by Ken Norton Jr., the linebacker coach here in Washington when he was at UCLA. Like you made these moves, and for some reason, you're not leaning into it. Instead, you are literally watching the same results happen every single week. Bobby Wagner out of position in coverage, or someone missing a tackle. These obvious passing situations, 2nd and long and 3rd and long, is where Washington is at their absolute worst, which is crazy. It's like you don't want them to get a sack on 1st and 2nd down. Because I think John Keim shared out a stat of how like they're one of the worst teams in the league. Like teams' success rate on 2nd and 3rd and long against Washington is higher than any other defense in the league. That is crazy. That is crazy. Legend says Noah was injured when he took his first steps as a baby. Honestly, at this point, would not surprise me. What's going on, Radar? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure y'all subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. And I'm going to start getting to everybody's chat. So y'all are blowing it up. Appreciate it. AP can go focus on rebuilding team through the draft instead of quick fix relying on vets. Definitely agree. But at the same time, I'm not mad about the Debo trade. It was a 5th round pick. And I'm not mad about the Laremy Tunsil because it's another long-term thing. Hey, take it. But the Marshawn Lattimore trade, absolute failure. And that's okay. He swung. He got aggressive and he missed. Not every GM's going to hit everything. The wide receiver room is tragic. Good news. The lower they get, the better player they can get in draft-wise. Absolutely. Nope, not worth it at all. Agreed. Similar to Lamar, possibly. Guys sending us a message to wash away the season, sell everyone, and start prepping for the 2026 season. Hey, I'm just saying, if you lose to the Chiefs, if you lose to the Seahawks and the Lions, if you lose those 2 NFC games, there's almost no chance you're making the playoffs. So the trade deadline is November 4th. This is what I'm saying. You got this game Monday night, and then you got the one game against the Seahawks. If they lose that game against the Seahawks, do you take offers for Daron Payne? Just being honest. Do you take offers for Daron Payne? His stock is extremely high right now. Daron Payne's actually balling out this season. He's under contract next year. It's got a hefty cap hit. But you know you're not going to re-sign him after next season. Like, you know that. You got Kinlaw you paid. You have Newton that you signed. That you drafted. You got some depth there with Sheldon Day and Eddie. Like, do you if you lose the game to the Seahawks, do you sell? Because you need high draft capital. Like, it would not surprise me if they take calls for Daron Payne. Like I said, he's playing really well right now. He's playing extremely well. Like, against the Cowboys, he was balling out. Like, and it wasn't even just the safety. Like, multiple batted passes. Like, Daron Payne is balling out this season. But do you say, hey, we need to start, like, building? Like, we know Daron Payne, he's going to be here next year. He's under contract. But after that, we're not re-signing him. So do you go ahead and just take a high draft pick while you can, while his stock is actually really high right now? I think you have to think about it. And I do have one trade article that I'm dropping in the morning. It's a very low-key, very low-risk trade, and it does not involve draft picks, so don't start yelling and cussing at me on social media yet. But check it out, A2ZSports.com. Go to the Washington Commanders site to see all of my articles there. But in the morning, I cooked up a good one for y'all. Defense is worse now than when we had Ron. Make it make sense somehow. If we keep losing, do we look to move a player or two? And my other question is, would someone like Payne value be a third? So yeah, Radar, pretty much what I was just saying. I don't know what his trade value would be. A third would be great. If you can get a third for him for a, playoff team, the AFC, send him to Buffalo, someone that needs a D tackle or something, whatever. Send him to the Ravens. I don't care. But if, at that point, if you lose to the Chiefs and you lose to the Seahawks, who the Seahawks are probably an NFC playoff team, my problem is the NFC is so stacked. You pretty much have to win the NFC East to make the playoffs with how the NFC is this year. And there's no way at this rate Washington is winning the NFC East. That loss to the Cowboys is killer. Obviously, you play the Cowboys on Christmas Day, and then you play the Eagles twice at the end of the year. And you got, the Giants one more time. But at this rate, it's not looking good. At this rate, we might just have the preseason practice squad guys out there playing if these injuries continue. Greg, the absence of Terry has been huge. Teams are loading the box because there's no threat down the field. Absolutely. We literally have no edges. So our edge room right now is Preston Smith, who just got here, and he's playing really bad. Von Miller, who weighs less than me, and Jacob Martin, who's just another outside linebacker. That is our edge rushing room right now. That's not good. That is not ideal. Literally nobody else. Probably get Jalen Holmes back, even though we released him. Probably re-sign him. Probably poach somebody off the practice squad. We got Drake Jackson, but he's on IR, so he's out for at least another 3 games. They're supposed to have an aggressive mindset and play style. What happened? They're not aggressive. I can tell you that. That's what happened. They're not aggressive. Wrong offensive game plan from Cliff. I'm still giving Cliff some slack because Jayden had a banged up Zach Ertz and did not have the top 3 wide receivers on the team against the Cowboys. So there's only so much you can do with Chris Moore as your wide receiver 1. All the issues they had in the preseason have not been resolved. Absolutely nailed it on the head. All the issues are still there. Imagine if we had Gonzalez and didn't have to give away like 3 picks for Lattimore. Wow. I think about it every day. Where do we go from here? To me, there's a lot of things. This is a pretty loaded question, but you just gotta play the season out and see what happens. You have to make changes on defense. Have to. What did it for me is this is mind-blowing. And it's so funny because Tom Brady called it. The offense literally drove down the field, scored a touchdown to make it a 20-15 game with 45 seconds left. And Tom Brady said they left too much time. And everyone's like laughing and like, okay, whatever. It's halftime. The Cowboys drove down the field. And what was it? 70. Where's it at? Right here. 4 plays, 72 yards, and 35 seconds before halftime. So all that momentum the offense just fought for, whatever, good drive, 68 yards in a minute by Washington. That was great. 20-15 game. Psych. They drove down the field in 35 seconds. 2 big plays, the deep pass to George Pickens over Marshawn Lattimore, and then the run by Javonte Williams where he dragged Quan Martin like 30 yards or whatever. And then they score a touchdown to Jake Ferguson. 72 yards in 35 seconds. Like that is when changes need to happen on defense. And Dan Quinn, you could tell he was pissed. And he said it in his press conference, and I'm glad he said it. He was like, words cannot express like how I felt in that moment. He's like, I'm not happy. Words cannot explain how he felt when he saw the defense give up a touchdown to take all that momentum away in 35 seconds. That is when changes need to happen. So this is what needs to happen on defense. First off, Marshawn's got to go. You're saving 15, 16 mil in salary cap if you get rid of him. I don't care. At this point, the trade was bad. Take your losses. Don't take any more with him. Jonathan Jones is coming back. Put him in the slot. Tell Mikey to go back outside where he plays better and see what you have on defense. Let Darnell Savage be a full-time safety because he's actually not that bad considering he just got here. He's better than a lot of other safeties on this team. I'm not going to name names because they're team favorites and I'm going to get hate for it. But, let Quan Martin do more of what he's comfortable doing. They're asking him to do so much right now, and it's showing in his play. But then you have to really think about getting somebody in here. So if they let Joe Witt Jr. go, which I honestly would be shocked if they fire him during the season, and John Keim said personally he doesn't think they're going to. That doesn't mean they won't. If things get bad enough, I promise you Dan Quinn will eventually make that move. Let Ken Norton Jr. be the defensive coordinator the rest of the season. But in the offseason, get somebody good in here. Not a guy that came over with Dan Quinn, but get somebody. I'm not saying get Robert Saleh, but how the 49ers did it. Get somebody like that. And sit down with him and be like, okay, what kind of defense do you want? What kind of players do you want? That's what you got to do. Because there is talent on defense. Von Miller is going to be gone. Bobby Wagner's probably going to be gone. You still have a lot of holes to fill in the secondary, in the linebacker group, on the defensive line now. There's a lot. There is a lot that has to be invested in the defense. But you have to get the right guy and be like, who do you want? Who fits what you are looking for? That's what they need to do. So that's my long answer on that one. I still do the Tunzel and Debo trades, even with the knowledge we have now. Absolutely. 1,000,000%. Those were the right trades. The Cowboys scored quicker than the Lions just did. I forgot that game. Is that game on already? They had been great. The Lattimore trade in hindsight was bad, but at the time it was needed just because we were gearing up for a run. It was needed. It just didn't work out. And now they're having to pay for it, which is okay. I was about to say the depth was never something Ron could build. Screwed us big time along with the Terry news in the offseason. Absolutely. Everybody looks slow on film. Y'all can see now is why Seattle released him. They need to scheme something up to cover the disadvantages at speed we have. That's hard to do, though. When you're only playing 2 linebackers, and that's why I'm screaming for more Jordan McGee and more Kane Madrano. Because when it's second, third, and long, they know. Let's target Marshawn or let's target some crossing route to where Bobby Wagner has to pick it up, and he's not going to be able to. What's up with our young linebackers not playing? I have no idea. That's the question of the hour. If you had to take a guess, do you think we re-sign Debo in the offseason, or will AP allow him to walk because he will ask for a lot? I don't think he's going to ask for a lot. I think you definitely want to re-sign Debo. Definitely. Listen, if I'm DQ, I'm making a change at linebacker, start both of the young guys, and have Frankie just be an edge rusher. At this point, he probably will have to. What's going on? My GOAT. Season is cooked by then, if not already. Fully agree. What's going on, Michael? JT, the real problem is Adam Peters. Got to stop bargain shopping for free agents and pay that money to grab some real talent. Jayden will be making big money soon, so get it together. I agree. I think at a couple positions you have to swing, but at the same time, look, do a lot of these free agent signings usually work out in the long run? No. Like, not just talking about Washington, just talking about like in the NFL in general. You sign a player to a big contract and you're like, dang, this is not working at all. And then you're kind of stuck in that salary cap, casualty situation with bad players. I mean, I could talk about Albert Haynesworth. I could talk about Josh Norman for us, but I'm just talking about around the league. And this whole free agency group wasn't that exciting anyways. Like your top players were like, that were actually available were like Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, and they wanted big money. So I'm not that mad that AP said, look, I'm not going to like put all my chips into one spot. And then this is going to hurt us in the long run because we don't know, like this free agent group coming up, there could be a lot of great players available. And AP is going to be like, hey, we're going to be aggressive. And if we would have done that this past off season, we would be in a bad situation right now. So I'm giving AP the benefit of the doubt. I've never been one to say, hey, just go sign the biggest free agents available and it'll work out. Like it'll be worth it. Because half the time it doesn't ever work out. And then you're stuck with these gigantic contracts that you have to eat a ton of money on. For me, it's just get more draft picks. Get more draft picks and draft right ones. There's a high chance we're 3-7 going into Madrid, which is absolutely crazy to think about, but it is realistic. Could we get a second for Payne? That's too high. If you get a third for him, I'm applauding. I will get a tattoo. Cosme did well too. Cosme was balling first game back. Good to see it. But as someone said it earlier, teams know we want to run the ball. Like we're a top running team in the league. People are loading the box while we have all these injuries at wide receiver. And it's paying off for them because we have not been able to run the ball the last 2 games. Completely agree. We got to get something for Payne. Teams would be intrigued. Absolutely. Someone in this playoff push would absolutely trade for him. Make no sense to get rid of Daron Payne. For me, it does if these losses continue because you're not going to re-sign him. You're not going to re-sign him. So get something now. Get something while his stock is incredibly high. Like I said, if you can get a 3rd-round pick for Payne, I would do it. What are you just going to let him leave? Like I said, you have him for next year. What's he going to look like next year? Is he a piece you build around? No, because he's not going to be here after next year. Trade Payne and Coleman. I'm with you. They done got to make up for losing that 26th 2nd-round pick. Yeah, that does sting. Honestly, there's only a few players they could trade. Brandon Coleman, Noah Igbenogany, and Daron Payne. That's like the only 3 that come to my mind of players that Washington could actually trade at the deadline. That's the only ones that make sense for me. If we get a top 12 pick, we get a TJ Parker or Downs. I would love TJ Parker. Obviously, I would love Caleb Downs too. But it's got to be defense. We need to invest more draft capital in the defense. I think the offense, obviously Terry's going to be here next year. I think Debo's going to be here next year. Like, I feel like the offensive line is good where it's at right now. As much as you can invest, draft another wide receiver, sure. But as much as you can invest, it has to go in the defense. And that's why I'm stressing the importance of getting a defensive coordinator in here that knows what he's doing, a high caliber defensive coordinator, and sit down with him and be like, hey, what do you need on your defense? Let's draft them. Let's sign them, whatever. Let's get this defense to where we think it could be. And we'll see if it turns out that way. Adam should package a trade with Coleman, Payne, Coleman, and Lattimore. Yeah, go get like Max Crosby or something. That'd be nice. I would love Ruben Bain too. He is an absolute freak. Had such high hopes in Linda. We all did. And it is unraveling quickly with not much improvement in sight. Like I said, Jayden's hurt. Dorrance Armstrong's out for the season. Dorrance Armstrong was honestly one of the only bright spots on this defense this season, besides Trey Amos and Daron Payne. Dorrance Armstrong was like the one thing I was excited about every single week. I loved writing about Dorrance Armstrong. And make sure y'all hit that thumbs up and make sure y'all are subscribed on the channel. Make changes at corner and safety and let McGee and other young linebackers play and sit the vets on more plays. I'm telling you, Jonathan Jones should be on the field. if we don't see Jonathan Jones on the field, put him in the slot and put Mikey outside and tell Marshawn to go sit down. He'll probably still get a flag on the bench. Realistically, are there any other guys who can trade away to get picks besides Payne? Like I said, Noah Igbenogany. There were a lot of teams that were checking in on corners before the season, and it would not surprise me. They did get calls on Noah Igbenogany. It wouldn't surprise me if teams called about Jonathan Jones as well. But so I would say Noah, Brandon Coleman, and then Deron Payne. If the season's over, and you want to just get as much draft capital as possible, then you got to trade Deron Payne. That is the only real valuable player you have on the team that can get you a valuable pick. He's the only one. Chiefs player props on my bet slips already hit. Yeah. Rashee Rice, anytime touchdown scorer, three plus touchdowns for Rashee Rice. Absolutely insane that he came back like that. Coleman should get a fifth. Other than that, we ain't trading no one. And Payne, can we start Tyler Owens? At least let him play. I would love to see that. Trey Amos is a stud. Absolutely agree. One bright spot. They hit a home run on him. Get the defensive coordinator that Jerry wouldn't let us talk to. I already have a list ready to go. I have already hit a list of defensive coordinators I want. They have not hit rock bottom. They just need to fix the defense because for real, they're the ones not bringing it on the field. Absolutely agree. But at this point, it's been like this since week 2. And we have not seen any changes. The only bright spot, where the defense got together was that Chargers game. Quan Martin forced that fumble. Mikey Samuel actually got that interception at the goal line. But outside of that, this defense has not had a good game at all. The DC hire has to be from a contending team no matter what. Absolutely. Either that or like a top college guy. I'm cool with that too. Besides Witt, who else in the coaching staff should go with him? Keep Ken Norton Jr. I like Ken. Ken is a defensive-minded guy. I like Ken. Honestly, like I would let the defensive coordinator just pick who he wants. And honestly, it would not surprise me if he's like, yeah, keep Ken Norton because he's a beast. He's a legend. Yeah, Peter's made the right choice there with Trey. Amos 100%. We still have a ton of cap space, and it's not smart to just throw money because we need talent for sure. Build it smartly, but not impulsive. Why do you think Newton has been struggling so much? I was a big fan of his in Illinois. I'm a huge fan of Newton, and I don't think he's struggling, honestly. I don't think he's struggling that bad. I think, adding Kinlaw is obviously like hurting his snap counts because Kinlaw is a big part of the defense, but I don't think Newton's like struggling necessarily. Like when I'm watching film, I'm not like, oh my gosh, Newton is bad. So I still got hopes for Newton. I still think he's going to be a good player. I'm sorry, but the drafting has been a problem. Josh, if we had younger guys contributing, we would be in a much better position. I do agree. I think we still do have a lot of young players contributing. Obviously, Jayden, Mikey, Newton is playing a lot. Trey Amos is playing a lot. Like there's a lot. Some of these later round, obviously Bill, obviously is, as a 7th round pick is getting a bulk of the carries. But I get it. But I also want people to realize not every single pick in the draft is going to hit. It's never going to be like that. There is no GM that has ever hit like a perfect draft. And to where they're just all like still playing on the team. It's never like that. Why don't we use / throw to Sanat more? No way. He's just not good enough. I don't know. Honestly, I think the thing that's killing him is being the 3rd tight end. Obviously Zach Ertz is your receiving guy. He's your red zone threat. And then you got John Bates. He's your big time blocker. They gave him the money in the offseason. I think this is probably Zach Ertz's last season. And I think Sanat has a chance to get more, I'm not saying he's going to be tight end 1 next season, but I just think it's just not time yet. He does a great job on the run blocks too. Like he's out there like John Bates, he's pulling across. He's doing a lot of great things in the run game, but I do want to see his receiving ability because it was so good in college. Ben was a receiving threat. His like he kind of reminded me a little bit of Tyler Warren, just like how like his yak ability. He would just run people down. Like, is he the like best route runner? No, but like just get him the ball and let him do things in space. Like the one big play he had in preseason last year, I was like, holy smokes, that is what I saw on the college on the college film, who'd we play? Like the Jets? And he was like running guys over that big play he had. So I just think he just his targets just aren't there yet because of where he is on the depth chart. And then obviously as a tight end, like a tight end 3 is completely different as a wide receiver 3. It's a wide receiver 3, you're getting a ton of targets, you're a big part of the offense, whatever. But as a tight end 3, you're not seeing the field much. And if you are, it probably is in the run game or like, special packages in the red zone or whatever. But you're not getting 2-3 targets, a game unless there's a lot of injuries in the tight end rooms. I just don't think it's time yet, which sucks because I do want to see it. Like, I'm so ready to see it. Yeah, Payne not getting re-signed, just like Peters did for Allen. Absolutely get a 3rd and a 6th for Payne. I would take that in a heartbeat. We better tighten up. This can get ugly real quick for the future. If we want to re-sign JD5, we need a team. Hey, by then we'll have Malik Neighbors. What's going on, Justin? Welcome. I think moving Quan out of free safety and into the box could be a quick fix for the season. But then who are you going to put at free safety? Like, I don't know. Maybe you put Darnell Savage at free safety and you put Tyler Owens at strong safety and let Quan, float around the box, do all these three safety sets, whatever. But I don't know, man. Safety room is just. Can we get any picks for Lattimore? Yeah, you know better than that. Absolutely not. We have a good team, just have overcome our injuries. All 3 cylinders have to play together. Absolutely. It's hard to get through these injuries though when your off seasons are just filling in starting spots and you're not actually able to fill in your depth of your team. And then when somebody goes down, you have really bad depth. Really bad. Tevin Lloyd, if he hits free agency, should be one we throw money at. Absolutely. But there is no way Jacksonville lets him go. Jacksonville looks terrible when Devin Lloyd doesn't play. But I have my group chats with people. I'll be talking about free agents and stuff like that. Shout out to my guy, Brandon. He tells me all the time, Devin Lloyd or Quay Walker in Green Bay are 2 linebackers that absolutely should be in Washington next season. Marshawn let him score. I'm done. What happened with Ben Sinnott? Nothing. I just don't think he's got his real chance yet. He's a good blocker, but I need to see him catching passes, though. Absolutely. I want to see it, man. I want to see it. Dylan, the young guys need opportunities. Sinnott, Newton, McGee are all being labeled bad players, but how can you know if they are bad if they don't play? 1 bajillion% agree. I agree. If there is a young player on this team, they need to be getting snaps on Sundays. If you keep losing games, you got to see what you got. You got to give these young guys a chance. So when you go into the offseason, which is a long time away, I'm not saying the season's over, but if you lose to the Seahawks, let's look at the schedule. If you lose to the Chiefs, doesn't matter, AFC, whatever. Seahawks, Lions is your next NFC games. They're at home, thankfully. I still don't think they'll win either of them. Then you got to go to Minnesota. The Giants are playing better. Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles to end the season. I don't see them making the playoffs with that. You have to beat the Cowboys. You got to beat the Giants again. You got to beat the Eagles once to have a shot at the playoffs. A shot. And that's not even considering the Seahawks, which is a tough game. The Lions, which is obviously a tough game. Vikings, I don't know what to think about them. I think they're beatable. But then you just have that NFC East gauntlet to end the season. Giants are much better than when we played them with Jackson Dart. Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles. So if you lose to the Seahawks and you lose to the Lions, you got to start thinking about the offseason. You got to start thinking about major changes. Firing Joe Witt Jr. Letting Ken Norton Jr. take over for the rest of the season. Let Dan Quinn, I know he says he has the headset on and he's listening and stuff like that. I need more than listening. I need results. And like I said, guys, this is a time, and maybe I'm being too negative, but when the team is good, y'all know I am excited. I am glowing like the rest of y'all. But when this team is bad, we should be critical. We absolutely should be critical. Injuries or no injuries, I don't care. Like I said, plenty of teams around the league are winning with injuries. The 49ers are a perfect example, but other teams are also getting smacked with injuries like the Ravens. But good teams just find a way to figure it out. And that's what frustrates me. I think this is a good team. I think this is a good team without injuries. But the defense is the biggest liability. Jayden Daniels can wake up every morning and put on his Superman cape, or I'll say Batman cape. But even Batman needed Robin. He has to have help. And when he doesn't have help, this is what happens. His injuries. When the offensive line let him down against the Packers, knee injury. When the passing game was off against the Cowboys, and it was a bad block, whatever, another injury. He has to have help. Is Jayden Daniels perfect? Absolutely not. Has he been off this season with some throws, with some accuracy, with some timing? Yes. But when you don't have a majority of your wide receivers in training camp because they're injured or they're holding out for a contract, and then you go into the season and things aren't clicking, and then he gets hurt, and then Terry gets hurt, and then Noah Brown gets hurt, and then, Debo gets hurt. Jayden Daniels has not played with Terry McLaurin since week 2. Guys, we're going into week 8. So, yes, things have been off, but at the same time, Jayden Daniels, it is not fair to just throw it all on him and say, hey, you're a special player. You're a franchise guy. Go figure it out. And I know other teams do that. The Bengals did that with Joe Burrow. I know he has all these weapons on offense, but that defense is bad. But look what's happened to him. He's injured every single season. They refuse to build the offensive line for Joe Burrow, and they refuse to fix the defense for Joe Burrow. And look what's happening. People don't know if he can stay healthy for his career. You can't let it get to that point. So, yes, Jayden is special, but it is not fair to just say, hey, Jayden, here is the weight vest with just all of the pressure of the team. We need you to mask our roster flaws. We need you to just be the guy. Because we've seen what happens when Terry's here, what Jayden does. When we've seen Jayden do the special plays, but you can only expect that for so long, especially with a harder schedule and half of the injuries that Washington has. I still think this is a good team. I think this is a better team this year than they had last year. But yes, the injuries are killing them. But just the defense, I feel like took a major step back outside of Dorrance Armstrong, Daron Payne, and Trey Amos. Quan Martin took a big step back. Mikey Samuelson took a big step back. I think Kinlaw was a great addition. I think, he's a guy that I'm excited about. Like, he's making big plays. But Marshawn was supposed to be healthy this season. This was supposed to be the year he bounces back. And he's just as bad as he was last year. And he's healthy. So it's not even an excuse. Like, oh, I'm banged up. I'm still nursing this hamstring injury. No, we were healthy. You're just still bad. Will Harris got hurt. That killed things. Dietrich Wise going down was a bigger injury than people realize, especially in the run game. That edge is so soft right now. People are running on Washington now. So I still think this is a good team. Jowett said he prefers veterans than young players. I'm sure he does. Chances we get flexed out, pretty high. They might kick us off of Christmas at this point. They're going to put us on Lifetime channel on Christmas Day, right after the rom-com movies. It's going to be Washington versus Dallas, part 2. Coming home for Christmas. That's what it's going to be. Jackie, appreciate you coming through. We have a good team. You just have too many injuries. Hopefully next year will be a different story. I hate even thinking about next year, but honestly, that today was the first time that I have actually thought about the offseason wholeheartedly. Like, the loss to the Cowboys was bad. When Daniels got hurt, I said, I'm ready for the offseason. But when they said today that Dorrance Armstrong is out for the season, That was the backbreaker for my hope and morale. And I hate to say that because I'm a positive guy. Y'all know me. I'm a positive guy. Yes, I'll call out bad things, but man, losing Dorrance Armstrong for the season is such a killer. 5.5 sacks. He was hitting career highs, top 3 pressure rate in the entire league. Dorrance Armstrong was playing so well. His run defense got so much better than last year. He was playing at an extremely high level. And he's one of the younger guys on the team, too. He's 26. This was a guy I was like, man, build the defense around. Get him a running mate on the other side of the line. And now he is out for who knows how long. Dan Quinn said it was a significant knee injury. Like you could tell it was like swallowing a nail. Dan Quinn was torn up today saying, yep, he's going to be out. He didn't even want to say season ending. They had to ask him, like, so is he out for the season? He was like, yep. Sure is. Significant knee injury to Dorrance Armstrong. That right there just sucked all the morale I had left. Beating the Chiefs, absolutely opens the door back up. But you still got to get the NFC wins for the playoffs. It comes down to that. You have to beat the Seahawks. You have to beat the Lions. If you lose both of those games, if you lose both of those games to the Seahawks and the Lions, the season you're not going to the playoffs. Right now, Washington is 3rd in the NFC East. They're 3-4. I mean, your losses came against the Packers, the Falcons, the Bears, and the Cowboys. You have 4 NFC losses right now. 4. Packers, Falcons, Bears, Cowboys. You beat the Chargers, and you beat the Raiders. They're in the AFC. Like, that doesn't do anything for you at the end of the season. I hate to say it. Does not do anything for you at the end of the season. So if you lose to the Seahawks and the Lions, you have Packers, Falcons, Bears, Cowboys, Seahawks, Lions. If you have 6 NFC losses, you're not making the playoffs. You're not. We are literally playing the game for the love of it. If you lose those 2 games, absolutely. Jade is the reason why we have a chance to win any game, absolutely. You can't carry 24/7. It's unfair to him. No chemistry with the wide receivers and timing issues are off and shaking off rust from injury. So I'm saying, like, you cannot build a rapport and timing and stuff. Robbie Chosen just signed to the team and he was out there like making catches and stuff on Sunday, but like that's sad when your wide receiver group is Robbie Chosen, Chris Moore, Luke McCaffrey, and Jalen Lane on a Sunday in an NFC East game. That is a crucial game. That is your wide receiver room. You can't do anything with that. Tyler Owens needs more playing time for sure. It's more scheme than Lattimore, I'm convinced. Look at St. Juice in LA, but St. Juice was still so bad here. But I agree, you got to get somebody. Kev, appreciate the comment. First objective is to make the changes now. I don't see us going into KC winning, but come back healthy with Debo and Terry back against Seattle. Luke, Burks, Moore, and Chosen. Use all the backs with a change of pace and run it up. Sit Daniels against KC. Fully agree. Sit him. Bring him back if healthy against Seattle. The defense, at the moment, Quinn needs to take over. No hard feelings, but Joe Witt's not it. That's what I'm saying too. Dan Quinn said he's not making changes or whatever. He didn't say it directly, but he's like, "Oh, I'm listening in the headset." What does keeping Joe Witt here do? Nothing. You keep getting the same results because you haven't changed anything. This team clearly needs a jolt on defense. And I get it. Like I said, he's doing what he can. Joe Witt's doing what he can with what he has out there. When you got Lattimore and Quan Martin running into each other, that play summed up the defense. One play, 75 yards or whatever it was. Because you got Quan Martin and Marshawn Lattimore running into each other in the secondary. That was as much of a circus play I've ever seen in my life. That summarized the Commanders' defense for 2025. I don't care how many injuries there are. Your two starting secondary guys, it has nothing to do with injuries. Quan Martin and Marshawn Lattimore straight run into each other trying to get CeeDee Lamb. Can't have it. So, all right, y'all. I've been live on here for a hot minute. I appreciate y'all blowing up the chat. We've had a lot of people popping up in here. Appreciate it. Trading for a DE makes a ton of sense now. Stay tuned. I have, like I said, I got an article coming out in the morning on A2ZSports.com. Go to the Washington Commanders before people cuss me out. It does not involve trading a draft pick. So stay tuned for that. Check out the website, A2ZSports.com. Go to the Washington Commanders site, where I am the sole writer and contributor for the team page, obviously. And then subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up. We're going live. I don't care if we lose every game the rest of the season. I will be here every night after the game. So when we play the Chiefs Monday night, I will be here Tuesday night. When we play Sunday the rest of the season, except for Christmas, I will be live Monday night. So this is a safe spot. Hey, we can be negative in here. We'll celebrate the wins. We'll talk about the highs if we get any. But in the meantime, I appreciate y'all. Like I said, hit that thumbs up on the way out. Make sure you're subscribed. We will be here no matter what. Appreciate that. All hail Reyes. We need that. We need good vibes. If we got anything else, look, if all else fails, we'll start talking about free agency and we'll start doing mock drafts like the old days. Mock drafts in October, that or probably be November by then, but we'll start doing them early, man. I don't care. Lonnie said, man, JT, at least we have Bama. Roll Tide, baby. At least we got Bama. They counted us out. At least I got one team to keep me sane. But like I said, I appreciate y'all. Go watch some Monday Night Football and check out all the articles on A2ZSports.com and go to the Washington Commander site and keep up with everything there. Injuries, I'll be updating y'all. Trade rumors, trade predictions. Like I said, you got 6 draft picks. I'm not too fond with trading away any draft picks unless you're using a day 3 and you're getting a young player that's going to be here for a long time. But I do have one in the morning coming out that makes too much sense. I got a 5 a.m. drop scheduled for that article, so check it out. Appreciate y'all, and I'll catch you next time.